The wind blew through the broken streets of Drasfor, a forgotten planet at the edge of the galaxy. Smoke rose from shattered buildings. The air smelled like burnt metal and blood. An alien mother ran, her feet slipping on the dry dust. Her skin was pale violet, her eyes wide with fear. In her arms, she carried two small twins, barely 5 years old. They cried softly, clinging to her as she stumbled through the wreckage. Behind them, monsters crawled, sharp legs, long claws. Hungry. Red eyes, the scythe ours. No one had come to help. The colony's guards were dead. The town's alarm had stopped hours ago. Only the monsters remained, now hunting, tearing, feeding. The mother ducked behind a broken wall, breathing hard. Her chest hurt. Her hands shook. She pressed the twins close, whispering, "Don't cry. Don't move." But one of the twins sobbed louder. The sound echoed in the silence. Click, dash, click, dash, click. The mother's heart stopped. She knew that sound. The Sithers had heard them. She looked up. 3 of the monsters were already crawling over the wall. She had nothing left. No weapon, no strength. She closed her eyes and hugged the twins tightly. "Forgive me, I tried." But then bang. One of the Sithers exploded in black goo. Another loud shot bang, and the second fell. The third hissed and leaped. But a man stepped from the smoke and caught it midair. A human, tall, worn-out armor. Blood on his face. A long scar over his jaw. He stabbed the creature in the neck and threw it aside like trash. The mother stared in shock. The human didn't look at her. He scanned the area, reloaded his gun, and spoke in a cold voice. "How many left?" She blinked. What? "How many more of those things are out there?" "I don't know. Hundreds, maybe more. Please, help me. My children." He didn't reply. He just started walking toward the ruined streets again. "Wait, where are you going?" she cried. "To finish this, you can't. There are too many. You'll die." He stopped and looked at her. For a moment, his eyes softened. "I've died once before," he said quietly. "This is nothing." Then he was gone. The mother hid the twins in a metal crate and peeked through a crack. She saw him fight. He didn't move like a man. He moved like a shadow. Fast, silent, brutal. He shot. He slashed skulls with his boots. He was covered in black blood, but he never stopped. The Sithers screamed as he tore through them. But more came, 10, 20, 50. Still, he fought. His arm bled. His armor cracked. He dropped his rifle and used a blade instead. Then his blade broke too. He picked up a steel pipe and kept going. The mother felt her chest tighten. Who was this man? Inside the crate, the twins whispered, "Mama." "Is the man a monster?" She shook her head. "No, he's something else." Boom. A huge explosion shook the ground. Fire lit the sky. The human had thrown a bomb into a nest. 100 Sithers burned, but the human was gone from view. Smoke filled the streets. She couldn't see him. "No, please, no," she whispered. She waited. Then he walked out of the smoke again. His steps slow, his body covered in cuts. But he was alive. He looked at her again. "Still breathing," he said, with a smirk. The mother stepped forward, speechless. She knelt beside him. "Why did you help me?" He didn't answer right away. Then he spoke, voice rough. "Long ago, I lost a child. My fault. I couldn't save her." He looked at the twins, who peeked out. From the crate, I swore, never again. Then he fell to his knees. Blood poured from his side. The mother screamed. Catching him before he hit the ground, JX lay on the ground, barely moving. His breath was slow, rough. Blood ran down his side, soaking the cracked armor on his chest. The alien mother held his head in her lap, her hands trembling. "Stay with me," she whispered. "You saved us. You can't die now." The twins crawled out of the crate and stood near her, eyes wide with fear. One of them, the girl, touched Jox's shoulder. "Is he our new papa?" she asked. The mother didn't know what to say. Minutes passed. Then, with a groan, Jox opened his eyes. "Where?" he muttered. "You're safe," she said quickly. "But you're hurt." Jox tried to sit up, but gasped in pain. "No time. They're not done." She looked confused. "What do you mean?" "There's a hive nearby," he said. "A queen. She's sending more every hour." The mother's eyes filled with fear again. "You mean this will continue?" "Yes," Jox said, forcing himself up, even with blood dripping down his side. "Unless I kill her." She reached out to stop him. "You're too weak. I've been worse. Why are you doing this? We're not even your people." Jox didn't answer. He just looked down at the twins, then away. He limped toward a nearby wrecked vehicle and kicked open its storage hatch. Inside was an old medkit and a few power cells. He jabbed a stim pack into his leg and winced as the chemicals surged through him. "Pain's gone." "For now," he said. The mother shook her head in disbelief. "You're crazy." "Been called worse." Axe loaded a new weapon and energy launcher with only 2 shots left. Not enough, but it would have to do. The mother followed him. "I know where the hive is. I can take you part of the way." He looked at her sharply. "No, stay with the children. They need me, yes, but you. You won't find the cave alone. The ground shifts after every attack." Jox hesitated, then nodded. They moved fast. The ground was cracked. Smoke still hung in the air. The sky above was gray with clouds. In the distance, sharp screeches echoed the sound of more Sithers coming. Jox gritted his teeth. "They know I'm coming." They reached a ridge overlooking a dark hole in the earth, the entrance to the hive. The mother stopped. "This is as far as I go." He looked down at the tunnel. "But don't come back." She nodded. "I'll protect your name." Jox smirked. "I'm not doing it for a name." Then he disappeared into the tunnel. Inside the hive, it was dark, wet. The walls were pulsing like they were alive. Jox stepped carefully, gun raised. Breathing steady. Click dash click. The Sithers crawled through the tunnels. Dozens, hundreds. JX didn't hesitate. Boom. The launcher's first shot burned 10 creatures alive. They screamed, charged. He dropped the weapon and drew a plasma blade. Spinning and slicing. One claw caught his arm, cutting. Deep. Another tried to bite his leg. He kicked it into a wall. His muscles screamed. His lungs burned, but he didn't stop. More Sithers crawled from the ceilings and walls. Jax reached for a grenade, yanked the pin with his teeth, and tossed it cob. Moan. Dust and bodies flew through the hive. But then, silence. A deep growl echoed. From the darkness, Jax turned and saw her. The queen, twice his size. 6 legs, long fangs, black eyes. She screamed and lunged. Jax barely dodged. She slammed into a wall. Cracking stone, he rolled under her and stabbed upward plasma blade, slicing into her belly. She shrieked and swiped at him, claws tearing in two. His side, he fell, coughed blood. Then he saw the last launcher round lying nearby. He crawled, bleeding, grabbed a hand as she lunged again. Boom. The hive shook. Stone fell. The queen burned, and everything went dark. Back at the surface, the mother waited. Hours passed. She hugged her children. Her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Then, just as dawn broke, something moved in the distance. She stood quickly. A figure walked. Through the dust, Jax, covered in ash. Face burnt. Limping, but smiling. "It's done," he said, then he collapsed. The sun rose slowly over Drasfor, casting pale orange light over the ruins. Silence had returned to the burned town. No more screeches. No more blood trails. Inside a half-destroyed shelter, the alien mother sat beside Jax. His body was wrapped in old blankets. Her hands worked carefully, cleaning the deep wounds on his chest. He didn't move. He hadn't woken up since the battle. "Please, don't leave us now," she whispered, dipping a cloth in warm water. The twins sat close, silent for once. The boy held Jax's hand. The girl rested her head on his shoulder. That night, as wind howled through the streets, the mother stayed awake, guarding them all. Something gnawed at her thoughts. She had seen what Jax did. He killed hundreds by himself. He moved like a soldier, but his pain was deeper than just scars. Something in his eyes had been broken for a long time. Who was he? Why had he risked his life for strangers? The next morning, Jax's eyes opened. He groaned and tried to sit up, but his body screamed with pain. "Easy," she said softly. "You're still healing." He looked at her, confused. "Didn't think I'd wake up." "You almost didn't. But your heart refused to stop." He blinked, then looked around. "Where are the monsters?" "Gone. The queen burned. The hive collapsed." "You ended it." Jax gave a slow nod. "Good." Then he looked at the twins, who were now drawing pictures in the dust. "Are they okay?" "Yes," she said. "Thanks to you." He stared at them for a moment. "They remind me of someone." She waited. "My daughter," he said finally. She was their age. He had never told anyone the story. But something about her eyes, her calm strength, made him speak. "I was a soldier. Long ago, Earth had enemies, wars. I fought for pay, left my family behind." He paused. The words hurt. "One day, they told me our colony was safe, but it wasn't." He clenched his fists. "My daughter died in a raid, while I was off fighting for credits." The mother's heart ached. She died scared, alone, just like these two would have. "If I hadn't come," she reached for his hand. "But you did come, and you saved them." He nodded, but pain still burned in his eyes. "It's never enough." Later. That day, a scout from the outer village arrived. A young alien man, shaking with fear. "They're returning," he said quickly. "Not Sithers. Something worse. Nightcrawlers. They came from the far forest." Jax sat up fast, despite the pain. "How many?" "Too many. We sent drones. They were torn apart. We need help." The mother looked at Jax. "You're not ready." "I have to go," he said. "If we wait, your village will fall. You've saved us once. Don't throw your life away again." He stood slowly, grabbing his blade. "I'm not throwing it away. I'm using what's left of it." As night fell, again, Jax moved through the forest paths. Each step hurt. His ribs were cracked. His leg was stiff, but his mind was focused. He reached the outer ridge. Smoke rose in the distance. Something massive had moved through here. Trees snapped, claw marks in stone. Then he saw the first body. A local villager, torn in half. Not a quick death. Jax gritted his teeth. "They're faster," he whispered, "and smarter." He followed the trail of destruction to a deep cave hidden by roots and vines. A second hive, but this one was different. Inside the cave, the air was thick and warm. He moved quietly, hiding behind jagged rocks. He saw creatures, bigger than Scythers, taller than him, with long limbs and white glowing eyes. and in the center of them, another queen. Not like the last. This one looked almost intelligent. She wore scraps of armor. She had markings on her chest like she was once something more than Jox. Realized the truth. This wasn't just a hive. It was a mutation. Something was evolving in these caves, learning, becoming. A threat not just to this village, but to every colony in the sector. He backed away slowly, but stepped on a bone. Snap. The sound echoed. The queen turned her head straight at him. A deep, screeching roar filled the air. Jax ran. The monsters followed. Back at the shelter, the mother waited again. The twins asked, "Will the man come back?" She didn't know how to answer. She just stared into the forest and prayed. The wind had changed. It smelled of ash now, and something else, fear. The alien mother stood at the edge of the village, eyes fixed on the forest. Behind her, the twins sat quietly, arms wrapped around each other. They had stopped smiling since Jox left. That was 2 nights ago. He hadn't come back. The village elders whispered that he was gone. The scout said he had seen blood near the ridge. No body, just red stains in the leaves. But the mother didn't believe it. She couldn't. That night, thunder cracked above them. The twins refused to sleep in the shelter alone, so she lay between them, listening to their soft breathing. Suddenly, the boy woke up crying. "Is the man dead?" he asked. She hugged him close. "No, sweetheart. He promised he would come back. But everyone else dies." The girl's voice followed. "Why didn't he take us with him?" The mother couldn't answer. Morning came, but it didn't bring peace. Alarms sounded across the village, short bursts, urgent tones. Everyone rushed outside. The forest burned in the distance. Black smoke covered the sky. The monsters had returned. But this time, they were faster, stronger, smarter, and there was no Jox to stop them. Panic spread. Fathers armed themselves with farming tools. Mothers hid their young in basements. The mother grabbed her twins and ran toward the old shelter near the well. It was deep, strong, and hidden under stone. Inside, she sat with them, holding their faces. "If anything happens," she began, but the boy interrupted, eyes wide. "We want the man." She looked down. "So do I." The girl pulled something from her small pouch, a broken piece of Jox's armor. She had kept it. She clutched it tight and whispered, "Papa, please come back." Outside, screams started. The monsters had reached the village. The shelter shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. The mother closed her eyes. She thought of Jox, of his eyes, his silence, the way he never gave up, and she knew. If he was alive, he'd come. But if he wasn't, she would die protecting her children. Just like he had promised to do. The twins began to cry. Not loud, but deep, scared cries. "Mama, we're going to die, aren't we?" The boy asked. She shook her head, her voice cracking. "No, I won't let that happen." Then, just as the door shook from outside, something exploded in the sky. Boom. A shockwave hit the village. The screams stopped. The growls faded. The shelter went silent. The mother held her breath. Was this it? Then a voice came from outside. Rough, low, familiar. "Open up." She jumped to her feet. That voice. She opened the shelter door and Jox stood there, covered in blood, holding a scorched blade. His armor was gone. His arm was torn, but his eyes, they still burned with fire. The twins screamed with joy and ran to him. "Papa!" T grabbed his legs, crying. He dropped to his knees and hugged them both, though every muscle in his body screamed in pain. The mother stepped forward, her heart pounding. "You came back." "I said I would," he replied simply. She helped him inside and closed the shelter. Outside, Others were cheering. The monsters were gone. Jocks had led them into a trap near the river, then used the last plasma mine to wipe them out. He barely made it out alive. But the queen, he said weakly. She wasn't with them. The mother frowned. Then she's still alive. Yes, he said. And she come for the twins. Why? He looked at the girl, then the boy. There. Not normal. I saw it. She was after them, not just the village. They're special, and she wants them. The mother's blood ran cold. What are they? She whispered. I don't know, Jocks admitted. But I swear I'll protect them. You already have, she said, voice soft. He shook his head. This was just the beginning. He looked up at her face, tired, scarred, but filled with something new. Purpose. Do you still want me here? Huh. She stepped forward and touched his cheek. I want you alive. He closed his eyes. The twins held his hands, and for the first time, Jocks didn't feel like a ghost from war. He felt like someone worth saving. The war had ended. At least for now, the monsters were gone. The ground no longer shook. The sky was quiet. But inside the village, a different battle had begun. Jocks could barely move. His body was broken. His right arm hung useless. His ribs felt like they were on fire, and every breath came with a sting. The alien mother stayed by his side, day and night. She cleaned his wounds, changed the wrappings, boiled herbs to keep the fevers down. Her hands were rough, but gentle. She didn't speak much, but she was always there. The twins played quietly near his bed. They laughed less now. But when Jocks opened his eyes, they always smiled. You're not dead, the boy said once. Jocks gave a dry chuckle. Not yet. The girl crawled beside him and held his hand. You're our hero. Aki didn't answer. Aki, the word didn't feel right. He didn't feel like a hero. On the fourth day, Jocks sat up slowly with help. The mother handed him a bowl of warm broth. He drank it in silence, then looked around the small room. There was only one bed, a wooden table, a single cracked mirror. On the wall, you live here? He asked. She nodded. Yes, it's not much. It's safe, he said quietly. That's what matters. She paused, then sat across from him. You didn't have to come back. I did, he said. For them? For you. There was silence. Then she leaned closer and asked the question that had been burning in her heart. Why do you care so much? You didn't even know us. Jocks stared at the twins. I saw something in them. Something I couldn't save before, he told her again in soft words about his daughter. How he had left for war. How the colony where she stayed was attacked. How he arrived too late. I never forgave myself, he said. But maybe, if I protect these two, maybe I can breathe again. The mother reached out and touched his hand. You already gave them life, she said. Now let us give you peace. Later that night, as Jocks rested, she placed another blanket over him. The fire crackled softly in the corner. The twins were asleep, curled up beside him. She watched. His face, the hard lines, the scars. But there was something gentle under all that pain. Something fragile, she whispered. You don't have to be strong all the time. He didn't open his eyes, but he replied, voice slow, I don't know how to stop. In the morning, the village elder came, an old alien with gold rings in his ears and tired eyes. You have brought us safety. The elder said, the people call you the ghost killer. Jocks shook his head. I'm no ghost, just a man. We would like to reward you, the elder said. Gold, weapons, land, say the word. Jocks looked at the mother. Then he looked at the twins, still, sleeping peacefully. I don't want gold, he said. Then what do you want? He hesitated, then said, A place to stay. That's all. The elders smiled. Then you are already home. As the days passed, Jox's body healed. Not completely. His right arm remained stiff. His steps were slower than before, but he was no longer bleeding, no longer burning with fever, and something strange began to happen. He laughed more. He helped. The mother cooked badly at first. He fixed broken tools. He trained the villagers to fight, just in case. He built a small play area for the twins, complete with targets and wooden swords. He even carved them tiny warrior dolls from bone. This? One looks like you, the boy said. No, Jox replied. That one's braver than me. One evening, as the sun set and the sky turned orange, the mother stood beside him near the old well. You're changing, she said. I don't feel like a weapon anymore, he replied. She smiled. You're becoming a man again. He looked. At her, at her eyes, at the quiet strength in her voice. I don't deserve peace, he said softly. Maybe, she said, but you do deserve a second chance. She stepped closer, and for the first time she leaned her head on his shoulder. That night, the twins crawled into bed beside him. He didn't stop them. He held one in each arm, and for a long time he didn't move. The fire flickered. The mother watched from the doorway, and for a man who had lived with only ghosts, he finally found warmth. The nights were calmer now. No more alarms. No more monsters. Jax often sat outside the hut after sunset, sharpening a dull blade just to keep his hands busy. The stars above him looked different from Earth's sky. Bigger, brighter, and somehow softer. The twins had fallen asleep hours ago. He had tucked them in himself, told them a story, the same one he used to tell his daughter. It had been a long time since he said it out loud. He didn't think he ever would again. The door creaked. She stepped outside, wrapping a shawl around her shoulders. Her violet skin shimmered under the starlight. Her eyes glowed gently as they met his. You're still awake? She asked. He nodded. Couldn't sleep. She sat beside him on the old bench, close. The silence between them was not empty, was full of words neither had said yet. After a while, she broke it. The elders say you could leave now if you wanted. The village is safe. I know, he replied. Then why are you still here? He looked at her, took a breath. For them, he said, and for you. She didn't speak right away, but her fingers reached over and touched his scarred hand. You gave everything to protect us. I never thanked you. You don't have to. I want to. She stood up, walked inside, and returned holding a small, wrapped bundle. She handed it to him with both hands. He opened it slowly. Inside was a handmade cloak stitched from fine local fabrics. Strong, soft, dark red, like warrior robes from her people's past. She said, this is what we give our greatest heroes. He looked at it, then looked up. I'm no hero. You are to my children. And to you. She didn't answer. Instead, she stepped closer and rested her hand on his chest. I don't have anything else to give, she whispered. No treasure, no land, no power. She looked up into his eyes. But if you'll have me, I'll give myself. Jox froze. He hadn't expected that. He had fought for her children, for her life, but not for a reward, and certainly not for love. I'm not whole, he said quietly. I don't want a perfect man, she said. I want the one who stood between my children and death, the one who bled and stayed and healed. She paused. Stay with us, not just to protect, to live. Jox looked away. His throat tightened. I don't know how to be anything else but a soldier. She reached up and touched his face. Then let me teach you. Her voice was steady. But her eyes trembled with hope, the kind of hope that scared him more than any monster, because it meant a future, and he hadn't thought he had one. They stood like that for a while, silent under the stars. Then Jocks leaned forward, slowly, carefully, and kissed her. It wasn't perfect, it was rough, hesitant, but it was real, and it felt like something inside him cracked open, something that had been locked away for years. Later, as they sat together in the warm light of the fire, she rested her head on his shoulder. He watched the flames and spoke softly. "I don't know what tomorrow will bring." "I don't care," she said. He looked down at her. "You really want a broken man like me?" She smiled. "You're not broken. You're healing, and I want to be the one who helps you." That night, they slept side by side, no weapons between. No ghosts in his dreams, only warmth and peace, and something Jocks hadn't felt in a very long time, belonging in the morning. The twins came running into the room. The boy jumped on the bed and shouted, "Papa!" "There's a bird outside the window," the girl added. "It has blue feathers. Come see." Jocks groaned, rubbing his eyes. "Let me sleep 5 more minutes." But the mother laughed softly and pulled back the blanket. "No, come see." He sat up, smiling without thinking. And for once, there was no war to fight. Only a home worth living for. The sun was rising over Drasfor. And for the first time, it didn't feel like the beginning of another battle. It felt like the start of something. New.jx stood in the field outside the village, helping the local workers rebuild the outer walls. His right arm still ached, and some movements were stiff, but he had grown used to the pain. It was part of him now, just like the scar on his chest and the burn across his back. But pain, no longer defined him, purpose did. Children ran past him, laughing, chasing each other through the dust. The twins were among them, giggling wildly. As they ducked under a cart, Jocks watched them with a half-smile as he lifted a heavy beam into place. "You're not bad at building," said the alien elder nearby. "I'm better at destroying," Jocks replied. "Maybe, but I think you've changed." Jocks wiped sweat from his forehead. "Maybe I just remembered who I used to be." The elder gave him a nod of respect. "Whatever you are now, you've become one of us." Back at the hut, the mother was stirring a pot over the fire, humming. Softly, she had changed too. Her eyes no longer held fear. Her voice had become firmer. Even the way she walked had strength, because she wasn't alone anymore. When Jocks walked in, she turned and smiled as if it were the most natural thing in the world. "Hungry?" she asked. He nodded, rubbing his shoulder. "Hungry, tired, and sore. I thought warriors didn't complain. I'm retired." She chuckled and handed him a bowl. Later, they sat together in the open doorway, watching the village breathe again. People were planting new crops, repainting old walls, singing songs from before the war. Peace had returned, not just to the land, but to the people, and to Jocks. He leaned against the wooden frame, eyes closed, feeling the breeze on his face. The mother touched his arm gently. "You've changed." "I had to." "No," she said. "You chose to." He looked at her, quiet for a moment. "I never thought I'd live long enough to deserve this." "But you do," she whispered. "We all see it." That night, the village held a feast. Fires were lit. Music played. Children danced around a glowing ring of lanterns. The twins wore small tunics stitched with golden thread, made just for them by the villagers. They ran to Jocks and dragged him forward. "You have to dance." The girl said. Jocks raised an eyebrow. "I've killed monsters. I've survived wars. But dancing?" The mother stepped up beside him, eyes full of mischief. "I'll protect you." She teased, so he danced clumsily, awkwardly, but with joy. And everyone cheered, because even the strongest warrior deserves to smile. As the stars lit up the night, the elder raised a glass and called the village together. Let it be known. He said that this man, Jocks of Earth, is no longer a stranger. He is one of us. He is family. Everyone cheered again. The twins ran to him and hugged him tightly. Does that mean you're our real papa now? The boy asked. Jax looked down at them. His voice caught for a moment. Then he said, Yes, I am. The girl looked at her mother. Does that mean you're going to marry him? The mother blushed. Jocks looked surprised, then laughed. Maybe one day, she said softly. If he asks properly, turn to her, eyes glowing in the firelight. Then I guess I better start practicing my words. Days turned into weeks, and the new life began to settle like gentle rain. Jocks built a larger home at the edge of the village. Strong walls, a wide roof, enough space for the twins to grow. He planted a garden and carved their names into the doorway. He taught the village youth how to fight not for war, but for protection. He built wooden toys in the evening, sometimes badly shaped, but always made with love. And every night, he held the mother close as the stars blinked overhead. One afternoon, the mother sat beside him as the twins played with a small pet they had rescued. She looked at him, voice low. You still have nightmares. Less than before, he said. And when I do, I don't wake up alone. She took his hand. Neither do I. Jocks once believed he would die on a battlefield, alone, forgotten. But here he was, with a family, with peace, with scars. Yes, but each one now meant something. They weren't wounds anymore. They were reminders of what he had fought for. And what he had found.